Greetings, this is Dani Filth from Cradle of Filth.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Danny. The Screaming of the Valkyries is your 14th studio album. What does it feel like? What do you feel this album brings to the table that's unique compared to your previous works?
Well, it's got new songs on it. Very important for a new
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's just got a very modern sound. It's very current, but it has a nod back to previous uh, Cradle manifestations. And I don't think you can be. I don't think if a band's got a strong identity and they've forged it themselves and it's been going on for, let's just say, 31 years, that uh, you shouldn't self-plagiarize. I think it's okay to borrow some of your own ideas. I mean, some bands been doing it their entire careers. So I think, yeah, it's a modern sounding record, one step forward, but it also has a passing nod back to previous incarnations. And I think you could attribute that to maybe having some fresh blood in the band in the shape of Donnie and Zoe.
Yeah.
Um, or it could just be that we've been playing a lot since the pandemic in a sort of futile way to make it up to everybody on the planet. And that's probably why the album took a little longer as well. And that we just garnered this new sound and a nod back to the older sound from just playing lots of older material.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
It's awesome, I think, how you have blended the two together and put a fresh spin on things whilst keeping it, in your signature sound.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit more about the concept behind the album, the
Well, there
theme?
isn't a concept. There's not really a concept around the album. It's just a celebration of escapism. It's all quite positive, to be honest. It's about indulging. It's about ritualization. There's some vampirism on there. Stuff that just garnered inspiration from hearing the songs when they were first written. Um, the title itself, "The Screaming of the Valkyries," comes from the last song, "When Misery Was a Stranger." It's part of a line from that song, and it was inspired by finding out that we were seconds away, mankind that is, seconds away from uh, midnight on the Doomsday Clock. So that got me thinking, and I thought about this great metaphor about the Valkyries screaming when Asgard's attacked, um, which brings around Ragnarok. And if everybody could hear that screaming, it would be almost likened to other cataclysmic events like walking down the street and seeing a nuclear explosion go off above a city, or witnessing a tsunami or a tidal wave. It's that inevitable moment where you, like in a dream, where you go, "Shit, that's it. This is the end." So yeah, the screaming of the Valkyries would be like a death knell. The hearing it would be like a death knell or like a banshee call, which never bodes well.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a very heavy metal album title.
Yeah, either or. Yeah, crazy to think about, really, as humans, the end of days, something that I don't think we could ever fully wrap our heads around. But yeah, definitely an interesting concept. And you guys have been known to be just a little bit blasphemous and all of that sort of thing. What is your take on religion, blasphemy, what you guys put out there?
I know it's only blasphemous to certain people. Um, it's pigeonholed, really. Um, well, I don't really view it as that, as such. I mean, if you're not confined by religion, this sort of thing doesn't really enter into your everyday life. So, are you actually being blasphemous if you don't think you're being blasphemous? If you're blasphemous to one religion, surely that would be blasphemous to all religions, which it evidently isn't, because all religions essentially are different, but they just argue about God's messenger. They can
Yeah.
never decide, you know, which one's the true. Well, they can, but it's always theirs.
Yes.
So no, it
Exactly.
doesn't give. I don't really give a shit about religion. I do
Yeah.
love the iconography, and I love the fact that It's for the great that there are good messages in it. I just think that I think time has just worn out the message. I think there's just too much blood, too much misery in religion's name to warrant it being um, regarded as as a modern thing. I mean, surely nowadays everybody can see the world is not flat, and that you know the world wasn't born 2,000 years ago, or 4,000 years ago, or 6,000 years ago. Um, the dinosaurs weren't part of the Bible. I don't think they even got a look in, did they? It's just what I'm saying is it's ridiculous. The notion of it all, the message, I get it, but the notion of it being still valid today just makes no sense. In an age of science,
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
yeah,
So that being in mind, it's totally invalidated in my opinion, and I don't give two shits about it,
yeah.
evidently.
No, fair
Oh,
enough. And yeah, so
I
obviously,
respect it. Don't get me wrong. I
yeah,
respect people's belief.
yes,
And it's the belief that's the most important part of it. And I respect that.
yes, but all the rest is,
Utter garbage.
yeah, I agree with you there. How has the dynamic within the band evolved over the years, especially with the lineup changes?
Really well. It's like weeding out the weird
Yeah,
and eventually ending up with, and not just the band, the crew, management, people on the periphery that work with us.
yeah,
Um, Over the years, we've managed to hone it. So now we've got just this great family. Everybody's really cool. Um, there's no square pegs and round holes. And to prove it's getting, that things have been going very well. We had a wedding in the band at the beginning of the year, which we all attended,
yeah.
which was Zoe and Ashok.
Oh,
So, yeah, evidently things are going pretty well, at least between those two.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And you guys have been such a huge influence for many bands over the years. How about you guys? What are some of your musical influences at the moment, or what music do you like?
I listen to all kinds of music. I love soundtracks in particular because it's just I can think and work uh, whilst playing soundtracks,
Yeah,
and they can cover your entire life. It makes you feel very epic getting up to a soundtrack. Um, but I don't know. I like uh, black metal, death metal. I don't get all this screamcore, whatever deathcore. There's stuff that's just sort of melding into one.
yeah.
Um, I'm still a massive fan of thrash metal and music I grew up listening to, new wave of British heavy metal.
Hmm.
Uh, I like gothic music. I like punk and hardcore. I just if it's good music, I like it. I like it being a bit raucous though. So I'm
Yeah,
about guitars. If it's not soundtracks, it's got to be something with guitars in it.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. And the album seems to revisit elements of your older works, as we discussed. This was obviously intentional, but what was the driving force behind revisiting that era?
Um, Well, I don't think there was. There's not wasn't a checklist when we wrote the record and said, oh,
Yeah,
heavy drums, um, ode back to previous works. I think it's just the way it grew, and that could have stemmed from, like I said, New Blood, or from the fact that we were touring a lot and playing older material as well, um, or that we just stumbled upon the same formula that we had 25 years ago. I was definitely filled with nostalgia when I heard some of the songs, and those songs when I first heard it also suggested the subject matter. So some songs were easier to define and write,
yeah,
solely because of that. I just got into that mood. It was like, wow, there's a vibe, and you know it, and you feel it, and if you know that it's happened to you before.
yeah. And
I often picture things in places. If, I don't know why. I always have a backdrop of a place
that's
when
awesome.
I'm writing. I don't know. I don't choose the place. It chooses me.
Yeah, yeah,
It could be like a bloody junction in my old village or something like that. For some reason, it just stays in the background, and that background reappears. I guess,
Interesting.
yeah,
Yes.
no.
So these
Thanks.
places, they're not fictional, they're like real places of they're not fantasy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a backdrop for whatever's happening in my tiny mind. But yeah,
No.
no. What I'm saying is that I was familiar with that feeling and that vibe, and it reminded me of the time when we were doing it.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, around maybe 96, 98, that sort of era.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. And what was it like working with Scott Adkins on the album?
Fucking awful. I just wish he'd go away. We've been working with him for about 8 albums, and he's still here. No,
Yeah.
he's brilliant. He's like the seventh member of the band, and we kind of confide in him because he's got nothing to lose by. Um, I mean, he's a friend, so he's got nothing to lose by telling us how. And he never mollycoddles us, which is the greatest thing. If it's shit, just say it's shit,
Yeah.
and that way we can dispense with the hours long trying to argue about shoehorning it into the album, whatever that may be. And he's very astute, and he's one of these people that has a good sense of how it should sound and what direction we should push it and what to do to achieve that and how to mix it. And he's patient.
Yeah.
Um, so the production is amazing because he's chipped away at it. Um, and he's got certain maxims he works by, like less is more and don't pollute the metal highway, stuff like that. So yeah, no, he's imperative. He's good. We may not always work with him. It depends how nice he is to us. No, he's rightly thanked on the back of the record for his work. It says produced by Scott Atkins. It's
Yeah.
and the production is amazing. So
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like it's nice for it, that he is like sort of an external force that can kind of tell you guys, yeah, this is working or it's not working.
yeah.
Yeah. And for you, is there a favorite song on the album that you're excited to play live?
Well, I don't know what we're playing live, to be honest. I should imagine it will be the singles to
Yeah.
start with, because people are familiar with those. But my favorite song on the album, which I'm ashamed to admit because they are all my children and should be loved equally, is Ex Sanguine Draculae. And I just love that song because it was one of the first written for the album, courtesy of our bass player Dougal. And I mean, it's been adjusted since, but it just reminds me of the era that Dissection toured with us, and it's just very intricate and fast, and lots of time signatures in it, and yeah, love the subject matter.
Yeah, that one really does sound like a hark back to your older stuff, if I can say. It's great.
You
And
can say.
if Cradle of Filth were to do a collaboration with any non-metal artist, who would you choose and what kind of music would you create together?
Well, obviously we've done the single with Ed Sheeran,
Yes.
which a bit of a wild stab in the guitar, but sounds amazing. And before you ask, we've got this album coming out, so that's why that's not out because we
Okay.
don't want. I mean, it's evidently going to be overshadowing because it's you've done a song with a mega star,
Yeah.
so it's attract attention, and then there's a blast radius around whatever he's doing in a couple of months, which I presume is another record. So it will come out
Yeah.
maybe this year, maybe next year. Um, it sounds amazing, and it doesn't matter; it's timeless. So
Yeah.
whatever. But if I was to choose someone else,
Yeah.
strangely enough, I think it'd be Lana Del Rey. And I'm not a massive fan. I find her a bit whiny. Um,
No, fair enough.
it's not a good way to entice her to be on your record, is it? No, my partner, she loves it, and I know she's great, and I love a lot of her stuff as well. It's
Yeah.
just a bit too sugary after a while.
Yeah.
Um, but I think she's got some gothic sensibilities about her, and she
Yeah.
does have a lovely voice, and I think it would work really well. We could do something. I was I said I'm actually speaking as if I've kidnapped her, and she's like behind the sofa behind me, all taped up,
Yeah.
ready to dragged into the studio. And of course, that hasn't happened. And if Interpol do contact you,
I know nothing yet.
But
No, that's amazing. And she's so talented. That would be amazing to hear. I really hope one day in the
yeah,
future.
I think if, of all the things, I think it would really work. But
Yeah.
you asked, and I said,
Yeah, that's it. And we'll just cut out the bit about her having a whiny voice.
yeah, don't say that.
Okay. What's the coolest or weirdest thing a fan has given you?
Oh, well, the weirdest thing was we were doing a signing, strange enough, in Australia, and I think it was at Lethal Records, if they're in Sydney, if there was
Mhm.
ever such a place. I might have just made it up. I think it was called Lethal, and they had a fake limb, leg, prosthetic leg,
Yeah,
not pathetic leg. It was an
pathetic.
okay leg,
Yeah.
prosthetic, and we signed it, and then later on that evening, it came sailing on stage, and I don't know. Someone had like ripped it off him, which I think I doubt that would have happened. I think he was swinging it round. He just threw it on stage, and I don't know whether it was a gift or whether we should have put it back, gave it back. I think we gave it back, but
Yeah.
yeah, strange nonetheless.
Oh,
But we do get a lot of cool stuff. Russia, like whole skulls this size, of massive oxen, and had to break it up just to bring it on the plane, which was
well,
weird outside the airport. Everybody's standing on it trying to snap the horns off. Um, and somebody got me this massive cyber demon like statue, and it's huge. It's like this big, and then the box is even bigger.
well,
And yeah, just cool stuff. They always
yeah.
get cool stuff from our fans.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you bring that statue back? Or was that?
Well, that's the thing. Funny enough, it was for a signing in LA, and the guy, some message came through to us. It said, "There's a guy out the front. He's coming to the meet and greet, and he's got a present for you, but security aren't letting him in with it." So I got our tour manager to go and have a word and say, "Well, why not?" And then that was the reason, because it was so big.
Massive.
They were literally, "Sorry, you can't bring that in here. There's nowhere to put it."
Yeah.
Um, uh, but we were carting so much stuff back on the airline to England. Anyway, the airline actually let us off and flew it for nothing.
Oh, that's nice of them for once. And last question, if you could swap places with any historical figure for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh God, talk about putting someone on the spot. Um, I don't know. It'd have to be someone like really worthwhile, someone that makes a real difference. So it'd have to be some political figure, or I don't know, Alexander the Great or someone like that, just someone very interesting. Marcus Aurelius, maybe.
Great answers. Danny, we're loving Screaming of the Valkyries. Thanks so much for your time today.
No, my pleasure. Thank you. Don't forget, album comes out Friday, which is actually the beginning of spring.
Yep.
And don't know why I said that.
That's
And maybe it will be a conduit for the album. And there may be another video of certain persuasion coming over the next couple of weeks.
Ooh, hot gossip. Thank you so much for that. We can't wait.
Okay, cool. Anyway, thanks
Excellent.
very much.
Take care.
And I will take my leave.